My guest today is with Rohit Kumar Gupta, Chief Financial Officer at Zee Entertainment. Rohit, thank you very much for joining us on BloombergQuint. My first question is about the surprise loss that you booked in the last quarter. It came as a surprise for the street. Can you take us to what led to that surprise loss?
Yes, thank you. So first of all, let me say that FY20 has been another great year for us, and despite the operational challenges and economic headwinds faced by the industry, we have been delivering strong quarter-on-quarter performance. Our subscription revenue during the quarter has grown by 41% for our domestic business, and for the full year at 33%. Overall revenue is at 81.3 billion, a growth of 2.5%. And if you see the underlying margin for the year, it is at 27.5%. So during the quarter, we have taken provisions and accelerated amortization and impairment in some of our balance sheet items. This has been primarily due to COVID-19, which is a global pandemic as we see it, and the changed business environment. We've also taken a conservative view of the cash generation from certain assets and taken reduction in their values. So let me take you through one by one. What are these items? So the first one is starting with inventory. Here we have taken an accelerated amortization of 2.6 billion in Q4 on account of slowdown in the economic activity. Secondly, an amount of 3.4 billion has been provided for balances relating to ad, subscription and other assets where we have felt that the recovery is becoming doubtful due to the uncertainty caused by COVID-19. We have taken a loss of 3.8 billion in overseas investments in accordance with the Ind AS 113 to reflect the movement in the fair value of these investments on 31st March. And fourthly, on our digital online business, while the business has been doing well, there has been a reduction in the revenue multiples, and accordingly, based on the opinion of an independent valuer, we have taken a provision of 1.1 billion in the goodwill. So if you were to look at all these, if you were to take off these one-offs, our EBITDA for the year, which is reported at 16.3 billion, is actually standing at 22.4 billion. And like I already mentioned, the underlying margin for the year is at 27.5%. So overall, I would say that the business performance has been positive, and we like to mention here also that we've actually exited the year with a leadership position with 18.3% viewership share. Even on the digital side, we've seen stellar growth. Our monthly active users are now 63.1 million. Our daily active users are now 6 million. And we are the largest producer of digital exclusive content in India. We've done about 80 plus shows and movies as well. Another important thing to take you through is we've launched 4 regional channels, Zee Punjabi, Zee Biscope, Zee Tamil and Zee Picture. Plus, I would say that another 2 important points, our Zee Studios was the number 3 studios in the country in terms of box office collection. And our Zee Music Company also continues to expand its catalog. It's now the second largest.
Rohit, I just want to take up on the inventory part. What was the reason for accelerated depreciation of this inventory? Because in the past, Mr. Goenka has been on record that as and when that happens, we will do it gradually. What led to that accelerated inventory? Which the cost which you have taken in your operating cost?
Right. So there are 2-3 factors to it. First of all, every quarter end and at year end, we do a very comprehensive exercise of our inventory in terms of the ongoing value of inventory. We look at like I said, the monetization of the inventory, and this is a very stringent process that we follow. Because of the, like I said, the weak economic environment, the monetization of some of the inventory remained lower, and therefore that overall that impacted to about 2.6 billion. Now that is what I'm talking about is a global phenomena. So part of it is in India, and part of it is also outside of India into our international territories. And even in some places, we have had to close down our operation in some of the countries, and that all impact is also included in this 2.6 billion.
Mm-hmm. And you have with respect to some outstandings in ad and subscription revenue. I also understand that some of the amount which was owed by the related party is also part of it. I think Dish owed you some receivables. Have you taken a write-off on those receivables, or Dish or City receivables which were owed to you?
Well, overall, again, like we do for inventory, and like I said, we reassess all our assets at the year end, and we have done a reassessment of all our assets at this year end as well. And especially in terms of the COVID scenario, it has become more important. We have looked at it, and that is also part of the notes that we have given into our results. So we have looked at the balances. We have looked at the ad debtors, especially the non-AAI accredited debtors. We have looked at the subscription debtors as well. And wherever we have felt that there was requirement to take a provision, we have taken, and we have also disclosed that 1.2 billion is from one key subscription customer, which is a related party.
Rohit, you spoke about subscription growth. Can you give us an idea about how it is going? Because my understanding is that in the last quarter or so, Zee and Mall, I think, has gone to free Dish. And there is the new tariff order also which is pending, and which is under judicial review, which is happening. How do you see this entire backdrop? How do you see this entire environment of subscription growing? Because while we say that from analog to digital, people are moving, we have seen that on a digital front also you have taken a small hit on the digital revenues, which are expected. So give us a perspective of what you see the scenario panning, how people's choices are moving from analog to digital, and in the backdrop of that, how are you factoring in all those projections which are there?
Also, good question. So we do planning ahead is the key, and we are always planning ahead. We are a prudent company, as you're aware. We've shown very healthy margins. So our business performance has been very positive. So we've seen a strong uptake of our pay channels, and like you said, the subscription revenue growth, domestic subscription revenue growth during the quarter is 41%, and this strong uptake is clearly seen in this in this growth. For the year also is 33%, and that is of course after the implementation of NTO 1.0, which is there. So really, I see in the TV business, I expect that the subscription revenues will remain strong, and of course the NTO 2.0, we are still evaluating, whatever TRAI has mentioned yesterday. So that is still being evaluated. But despite that, we are looking at strong subscription revenues. So overall, even in digital, actually, the subscription revenues are growing. So when I said domestic subscription, I included the broadcasting business and the digital business. So both are growing, and digital, of course, with the strong monthly active users of 63.1 million, the amount of original content that we have produced and that we are showing, online, and and even the daily active users at 6 million. We are expecting the outlook for our subscription business is also very strong. So yes, while the ad revenues have seen a decline during the year of 7%, the subscription revenues have remained strong, and that is really one of the key reasons. Like I said, our underlying margin is at 27.5% for the year.
You've been open to the kind of active users of Zee5 on a monthly and daily basis. Mr. Goenka, last time when I spoke to him, he said that by the end of the year we will start opening up and telling you what kind of revenues we are getting from Zee5. Can you give some light on what kind of revenues you are getting from Zee5?
So I think still early right now. While I said there's a good growth and the numbers are still small. Of course, the growth is very high because the base is small. Therefore, the growth is high. And Mr. Goenka did mention that we will give these numbers from Q1 of next year. So we plan to do that. Of course, from next year we will be giving these numbers. But the growth is high. It is included in our 41% overall digital subscription growth. And 33% for the year, yes.
And how do you foresee advertising revenue panning out? Q1 has been a big challenging quarter for every broadcaster. But if I tell you to look at it from a large broadcaster, do you see advertisers coming back to the same pre-COVID levels, or do you see some pricing pressure on advertising which is coming in? What kind of trend you can see in advertising as we go forward?
See, we have a more than 15% CAGR in ad revenues, and we have been beating the industry in the last so many quarters. Like you rightly said, that the entire industry has been impacted in Q1, but we are seeing green shoots. We are seeing that the advertising spends are going up, and we will be coming with Q1 results very soon. So more on that when we give our Q1 results.
Okay. Finally, you have come out with new offerings, new channels, 4 new channels which came up. Is the entire cost of those channels already been absorbed, or it will be amortized over a period of time?
Yes, like you rightly said, we have launched 4 new regional channels, and obviously there was initial inventory and so on, which is included into our balance sheet, which is there. And as per our policy, we take 80% of the amortization in the first year, and the balance, the next 2 years. So to that extent, that cost has been absorbed. Of course, continuing investments like any other channel will continue.
Rohit, I'm running out of time, so my final question to you is on, last year we saw you investing in new content, and advances were given to producers to produce those content. Are all those content now ready to be deployed, or you still have some content which is in the pipeline?
Well,
and what is the plan? How to monetize it?
Yeah. Very good. So yes, we had about 9.3 billion as we had disclosed last time in terms of advances and deposits that we had given, and now out of that, almost 60% of that has already got converted into our content, and it is part of our inventory. Obviously, some of the movies, there are overruns which happen, so the balance very shortly will get converted into content.
And is there a timeline when that will happen?
We want it to be as soon as possible, but of course, we all seeing the COVID scenario and the uncertainties around it. So, I think it should be very, very shortly.
Rohit, thank you very much for joining us today. We await your Q1 results, which will be very interesting to see how the industry is taking the entire COVID impact. Stay safe, and thank you for joining us on BloombergQuint.
Thank you.